1 year ago, a game came out that would change the course of an entire series, dating tens of years back, forever. What started out as a small passion project, with a rich and bountiful story to tell, would come and go, it would shape and morph into different series, into different studios, until eventually it landed its way onto Nintendo, took up the name Xenoblade Chronicles, and began to tell a story from the very beginning. A story of hopes and dreams, of war and peace, of humanity on the brink time and time again, but through determination, will, and companionship, finding a way to muster the courage to take one step forward, one after the other, time and time again. A story of parallel worlds on the brink of decimation and deconstruction, yelling out to their heavens no more, to break the cycles of damnation that they were stuck in for so long by powers outside of their comprehension. A story that many people thought to be concluded, for the book to be shut and locked away, to be remembered fondly for the good times and sorrows that were had. But then a trailer would drop, and everything would change. Both games seemingly disconnected at first, and concluded, connected only by one strand at the end of the second game, brought together in a more direct fashion, a unified world upon which characters and aesthetics would be borrowed from the previous entries. A world all consumed by the war effort, people trapped in endless cycles of conflict and propaganda. But amidst all that chaos and turmoil, those endless cycles of rebirth, war, death, 6 souls would rise from the ashes of war and conflict, break their chains of indoctrination, take up the mantle of Ouroboros, and fight for a better world against the very people in power who deemed it their birthright to keep the world locked in an endless formation, an endless cycle. For what was once a game to them became war, conflict, and sadness to the masses. Disposable pawns to be used, dried up, and tossed aside for mere entertainment, for the preservation of the present. And it is upon that stage that the grand symphony of music, a vast tapestry of beautiful vistas and artwork, a grand opera of emotion and voices and characterization, would coalesce into one experience, known only as Xenoblade Chronicles 3. A game that captivated both older fans, veterans, and new players alike, with harrowing, heart-wrenching emotional scenes juxtaposed with lighthearted banter and a genuine, fascinating perspective on the concept of war itself and what its effects can have both on people unaffected by said war, but also the people caught up in its endless maw. A story of once enemies forced together in unity and bonds to fight against the oppression of the world, only to toss aside their newfound bonds for the preservation of the future, the defense of the human condition, and the belief that tomorrow has the possibility to be better. Not because a happy ending is guaranteed, or that we ourselves are guaranteed happy endings, but for the sole idea that our future, our own paths to walk, are worth safeguarding. Those vows are sacrosanct. The belief in the good that humanity can do is of paramount importance. A reason to keep going. To put one foot in front of the other. Sure, we may stumble and fall, we may fail at times, but through determination, perseverance, and the bonds we have forged or will forge along the way, we're able to pick ourselves back up from destiny's clutch to keep moving forward. And at any moment we can choose a wrong path, a path of selfishness, a path that propagates the injustices of society and casts off the rest of humanity to near damnation, all for our own happiness. That even those people can walk a new path, should they will it. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, in my opinion, is a focal point for the series. A reflection on the past and what came before, analyzing its various components, both good and bad, and judging what should be continued into the future or iterated on or brought into the series, and what should be sacrificed and cast away so that the series can continue to grow and iterate upon itself to become even better, more engrossing, more engaging, from both its combat to its world to its gameplay. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is not a perfect game, and depending upon your own preferences, will have various pitfalls along the way that may hamper your own enjoyment of the product. But for me, the truest test of what constitutes a good game, an amazing game even, are those games that are capable of having those said pitfalls, those rough edges that may be too deep for some, but for us, We take them in stride because the good outweighs the bad, because what it does well, what it does amazingly, is to such an effective degree and manner that we forget and ignore those pitfalls. That is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for me. May not be my favorite Xenoblade game, may not be perfect, but dang it, if I can't appreciate the passion that went into this product. Its story, its world, and its gameplay, and its various characters. It's one of those experiences and one of those worlds and one of those games I'm not going to easily forget, and I never probably will. The game itself has meant a lot for me personally, especially with the channel. In retrospect, it's probably the game I've covered the most. And as someone who got into the series with Xenoblade X, but never finished it, and that my first Xenoblade game that I actually ever finished was Xenoblade 2. I then moved on to 1, and then when 3 came out, I was absolutely enthralled with it. It had great comedy, amazing gameplay, some of, if not my favorite, side quests in the entire series, an engaging world, wonderful locations, and some of the best story moments I've ever experienced in the medium. It's honestly hard to believe that it's been 1 year since Xenoblade Chronicles 3 even came out. It's even harder to believe that the game was able to come out in this state with this level of polish earlier than anticipated, and sure, I'm not the biggest fan of the game's pacing at the end. Sure, I think the game could have used a few more chapters, but I'm glad that this game and its experience is able to exist, even in its current form. There's a lot on it that I think can be improved, and I would love to see them try in Xenoblade 4, but I don't think that you have to reach perfection to be able to achieve something great, to be able to enjoy something to such a significant degree that you are capable of calling a game one of the best games ever made, and to put it in the highest of echelons. Personally, it's in my top 10 games of all time. I enjoy the game that much. Despite all the critiques I may level at it from time to time, it's an incredible experience. A world that I'll probably revisit time and time again, despite the game telling me at the very end to let go and to march on ever forward into the future. A game world so captivating and so majestic in imagination that it beggars belief, with a story so poignant, introspective, while also being timeless, yet perfectly on brand all the same. A story of war, humanity, and the future. Of 6 kids brought up as soldiers, infused with propaganda to break those shackles, to choose and carve their own path, no matter how difficult it may be, no matter how many times they may suffer tragedy and loss, no matter how many times they get knocked down. Together, they are able to pick themselves back up, to put one foot in front of the other, and to choose to be human, to learn what it means to be human and what it means to be alive. And upon realizing those ideals, those beliefs, they sacrifice everything, including their own happiness, to safeguard it for others, with no promise or no guarantee that they would ever see each other again. But they do so for the singular belief that what they are doing, what they are giving up, will be worth it in the long run, because the human condition is something worth preserving, even when it comes at the cost of our own happiness. Because what defines us as humanity, as people, is the ability and freedom to walk our own path. Sure, we may stumble and fall, sure, we may take the wrong path at times, but we'll always be able to forge anew, to pick a new one, and to walk down it. And should a path not be visible to us in the present, we can continue walking in hopes that our footfalls, our journey, may guide those who come afterwards, so that we can lay a path for others to follow. And let's be honest with ourselves, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a freaking great game. I'm gonna call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed it. Just me rambling about my thoughts about the game as a whole, and what it's kind of meant to me over these last 365 days. Or a year, whatever you want to call it. So thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. Go play some video games. Go play some Xenoblade Chronicles 3. One more time. One more time! Bye-bye, everybody. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload and stream in the future. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.
For the roads, they go on without end. So look up, face forward, toward your chosen horizon, and just walk on.